The topic of my talk today is extremely important, not only in India but throughout USA. Every university is trying to struggle. How do we make our undergraduate students more creative? See, when I went to school here, we were pretty much rote learners. That means stuff was given to us in the classroom, we would memorize it, and at the exam time we'll spit it out, and the next day we are totally fresh, we forget everything that we learned. That's not what is going to make you a good engineer in future. In future, your job is going to be making complex decisions on the spur of the moment. That is what is going to make you shine. And so everybody in USA right now is spending lots of money to move in the direction of how do we introduce principles of creativity among the students, how do we nurture it while they are there for 4 years so that they can be lifelong learners. And so that's what I'll be trying to cover here for you over the next about 30 minutes. I have made this an interactive lecture. That means I have subdivided this into 3 parts, and after each part we will have question-answer session so that you don't forget your questions until the end of the lecture. Creativity and imagination. I think this one single quote from Einstein says it all. Imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited to all we now know, while imagination embraces the entire world. Something that's not known to you right now. You are letting your mind wander, all right, and come up with new ideas, which is way beyond what you know today. Now, the reason I put in this quote is because imagination and creativity, they are related. If you cannot imagine, then you cannot be creative. So you have to open up your minds to what you don't see. That is imagination. All right? Imagination, there does not have to be reality to it. It could be all virtual. But from those virtual things that you see on the road or in the sky, you may come up with ideas which can be turned into reality. Okay? And that is creativity. Okay? All right. Where is that stuff? Are you going to advance it? Okay, the next slide. So let's see if we can define the terms creative thinking, innovation, and invention. As you know, within this country right now, there's a major emphasis on innovation, entrepreneurship, etc. Creative thinking is a way of looking at problems or situations from a fresh perspective that suggests unorthodox solutions. That is the key, unorthodox solutions. Okay? The solutions may look upsetting at first. People may come and tell you, you are crazy. Don't worry about it. All right? Let the community decide whether your idea is worth something or not. Okay, your job is to become imaginative, from where the creative solutions will come out. Those creative solutions, some of them are not worth a dime, others may be worth $1 billion. Okay? Creative thinking is related to imagination. All right? It is the capability or act of conceiving something original or unusual. That's innovation. Okay? Something nobody else has done. All right? Invention is the creation of something that has never been made. There's a difference between imagination and then innovation and then your invention. Invention, you are making something prototype. All right? You feel that there is some value associated with your idea, and you are going to go ahead and put it out for people to look at. Okay? Innovation is the implementation of something new. Okay? You can invent something, but you may not have innovated it because it has not gone into commercial practice. Next. Without a combination of critical thinking, problem solving, effective teamwork and creativity, learning remains stagnant. Very important word, the stagnant. It is more useful for passing a test than solving a real world challenge. Okay? I kind of am pleased to report to you, when I interface with you guys, I can see that you guys are already in the thinking mode, analyzing mode. It is unlike us. When we graduated, we were still in the rote learning mode. Okay? So I feel very good about you guys, way beyond where we were. Next. Here are the 3 topics that I would like to have interactive discussion. Number 1, what is driving the transformation of education around the globe? Why are we so keen on changing our system? Second thing I would like to talk about is, what are the workforce skills that you guys are going to need to succeed in life over the next 50 or 60 or 70 years? And finally, how do we promote and assess creative thinking and problem solving skills in our students? Okay? So those are the 3 topical areas that I would like to go to. Global transformation, broad trends. We are moving away from an industrial economy to a knowledge-based economy. All right? Anymore, industrial economy is not going to give you as much value as the knowledge-based person would. Because you are going to be worth a lot of money because you will be innovative and creative for the next 50 years. As a mining engineer, say in Bengal Coal Company, I was basically practicing the knowledge that I gained here. I was not being creative. Okay, so there's a big difference. And the creativity and innovation, they are the major keystones of 21st century workforce. Okay? Next. In 10 years, knowledge base will double every year. Just imagine, you are going to be bombarded with new information. Your job as a good graduate is to sort out this information, see what is real, what is unreal, what is logical, what is illogical. You need to sort it out to make decisions. Okay, decisions which will make money for the company that you work for. That is going to be your job. Alright? You will not be doing a mind planning and design problem which is unique, but you will have to look at multiple alternatives and then decide which one is going to make you the most money. Next. Here is, if you take a look at the less developed countries versus more developed countries, what you see is in the more developed countries, people are being more creative, more research. Alright, development work, design work, marketing and sales work, global supply chain management. Okay? In the less developed countries, people are doing routine work. Alright, take for example, we were supposed to be doing a lot of mapping work. Alright, it had value, but you are worth a whole lot more if you are doing research and development and looking at the future. Okay? Then, routine work that can be done by machines, and take for example computers. Alright, we will talk about that in just a couple of minutes next. Work has become more challenging and more satisfying for the new generation. People always complain about the younger generation, and I say the younger generation has their own challenges. I had my challenges, which were very different than your challenges, and every generation basically meets their challenges effectively. So as you can see here, over a period of about 25 years, my job lets me use my skills and abilities. Look at that, from 28% to 69%. I'll vouch for that because when I graduated with a mining engineering degree, sometimes I would be doing basically mapping, which is mundane work. Alright, and I used to be very upset. It is basically my responsibility to decide how my job gets done. You are not being micromanaged. Okay? My job requires that I learn new things. Alright? My job requires that I be creative. Look at it, it has gone from 20% to 45%. The work I do is more meaningful to me, 27% to 66%. And this is going to continue to evolve. The number of people available to do work is going to be shrinking. This is one country where we have lots of young people. If you go to USA, that's not true. That's the reason they import people. Alright? Next. Automation. You have seen computers, they have taken over our life quite a bit. Next. Automation through computers. Work that computers can do, if you can go ahead and break down a task into limited number of repetitive tasks, you can assign them to the computer. The only thing that the computers cannot do right now is non-routine manual labor and non-routine thinking work. Routine thinking work, you can introduce artificial intelligence. But non-routine thinking work, you're the only one who can do it. And we need to train you to think quickly on your feet. Given the mass of information that is coming into you, you have to make those decisions. Next. Automation and workforce skills. Computers can follow direction better and faster, and more importantly, they don't argue with you. Alright? So you don't really need unions for that. Graduates that were trained to find single correct answers or compete with the computers will not be able to win. You have to be able to generate alternatives. Alright? And let the market decide whether your ideas are worth something or not. We need workforce that can do what computers cannot do, and that is make critical decisions in the trenches, problem solving, and be creative to beat the competition. If there is one thing I want you to take away from here is the last two red lines. That is what you will be doing. And your children will be expected to do even more than what you are expected to do. Next. Nearly 2/3 of new jobs will require post-secondary education or training. High school is not going to be enough. Alright? Very, very important point. Next. Occupations requiring more education are predicted to grow faster. Bachelors are higher, 15% growth rate. Some college or post-secondary training, 10% growth rate. And high school or less, only 7% growth rate. Even the even the carpenters, electricians, even they are supposed to be more creative. They are supposed to be more problem solvers on the spot. Next. Trades becoming more technical, requiring stronger math and reading. This is next. I hate this. Next. Alright. If you read through this, basically what it says is plumbers, construction workers, electricians, they are going to be requiring more math and more science in order to make decisions. And one of our jobs is to teach you those STEM disciplines. That's the reason why you see in the universities now more emphasis on science subjects. Science, technology, math is very, very critical. Next. We live in a highly dynamic and interdependent world. You cannot go ahead and basically carve out a niche for yourself only in India. That's not going to work. You have to interface with the rest of the world. You have to take advantage of your strength versus US strength versus Chinese strength to make your country look good. All by yourself, you will not be able to do everything. Next. There. Somebody from Africa, somebody from Latin America, somebody from North America, somebody from India. You have to understand each other much better today than before in order to function well. Next. What are the impacts of globalization? 25% of the US world can be done by anyone and anywhere in the world. That's happening. Alright? Anytime you outsource, it saves 15 to 25% in costs. Ultimately, it is the economics which drives the businesses. Wherever the work can be done cheaper and more efficiently, that is where the businesses will go. It's very simple. Work can be increasingly done anywhere, and there are more workers who can do it in developing countries. India has plenty of human capital. China has a lot of human capital. Alright? That is where work can be done more efficiently. Technology advances, internet, interactive software, digital, allow work to be contracted around the globe. And that's true. Alright, historic political and economic changes have freed up over 1 billion people in Russia, Eastern Europe, China, India, who can compete for such work. I think India has done an excellent job of producing human capital. That's a major source of GDP for India. The result is a world where it is as easy to create work teams on 4 continents as from 4 divisions of a company in the same city. Okay? Very important. Next. Next. More collaboration and team effort in the workplace. You cannot be an isolationist. Being an isolationist means basically you are not preparing yourself for the future that lies ahead for you. Use of self-managing work teams rose from 28% in 1988 to 65% in 2005. And this number is growing. Next. In USA, Hispanics are going to become the majority and whites will become the minority. In the state that I come from, in the year 2019, only 2 years from now, we will have more Hispanics in Illinois and less white people. So we have to basically cater to the needs of those people, and we have to prepare them so that they can serve the industry effectively. Next. Entire US population in 2042, Hispanics will be a majority. School age population 2023, working age population 2039. So you are going to be dealing with drowning of America. All right? Whether we like it or not, that is the truth. Next. What are the implications of more diverse populations? Schools will need to be able to educate a more diverse student population. Teachers, they have to become more tolerant because they are dealing with a diverse community now. You cannot say that, look, I don't like this guy because of this color or because it's a male or a female. We have to be able to prepare faculty who is much more attuned to dealing with diverse people. More diverse US society, which will be reflected in the workplace, but also everywhere else, international collaboration, global work, etc. Next. Okay, that was topic number 1. Any questions? Any questions? These global transformation trends is the foundation for everything that we are talking about. Any questions that you people may have for me? Discussion, comments? Yeah. Go ahead.
The question is not directly relevant, but the way United States President Donald Trump has taken a certain decision. In light of that, do you think this will still continue?
I honestly do. This is likely to be just a small blip in the overall trends. Okay? We still do not know whether he will be able to follow through on his campaign agenda. That's a very good point. I have a feeling that when it's all said and done, the inertia to transformation is so large that it may turn out to be a small blip in the overall picture.
So,
Yes.
The other thing what I was thinking is they have been giving a point about non-routine manual work. Right. Non-routine picking process and anything and collaborative thinking is key. Now, non-routine manual work as well translates into the same thing possibly. I mean, that's what I was thinking. The man has to think in a different fashion. And what exactly is the distinguishing feature between the two items that we're given?
Okay. Non-routine manual work could be, take for example, once a week, have to mow the lawn. Alright? That would be non-routine manual work, whose frequency is unknown, and the challenges that you face on a particular day that you are doing the non-routine work may be different. I'm dealing with wet grass, for example. Okay? So that's what I mean by non-routine manual work.
I mean, you mean that it is going to be improvising on the people?
You will have to think how best I can do that work, but in a way that is different than the previous time you did the work. Okay. In other words, what we are saying is you cannot train a computer to do that work.
Yeah. In the innovation aspect, what is my role? Or everybody's role?
That's right. Effectively, every time you do it, there's something different about it.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Today when people like us, when we go to the Indian villages, it's very often we go to the Indian villages and we talk so many things to those students, to the people of these villages. But we are finding they are not obeying us. They are just disobeying. What may be the reason that maybe that we are not capable of handling them, or they are not capable to understand us? What may be the reason?
I'll give you my opinion on that.
Myself and Mr. Pramod, we have been going to villages many times. We have gone to villages. We have made a lot of meetings and all. I'm finding I give them the problem.
I can give you my thinking on that particular topic. Being of Indian origin, I think Indians still try to control the people through a sense of authority. What you need to control people is the economic pressure. Okay? Either economic motivation or economic pressure. Alright? Unfortunately, being a socialistic setup, you cannot really fire people that easily in this country. In USA, you can be fired in an hour. Alright? That is economic pressure. Similarly, you can also apply economic motivation. Look, if you finish this work in a timely fashion, you will get a year-end bonus. So I think we have got to transform ourselves, that the society has to transform themselves to subtly apply the economic pressures and manage through economic incentives and economic threats rather than through authoritative. Another question? Okay, let's move to the question that I'm sure you guys are asking. Well, what do I have to prepare? What are those skills that I should be trying to prepare for so that you can be successful? And that's what we are going to do now. Next. This is from ex-President Barack Obama. Very, very important statement. America cannot lead in the 21st century unless we have the best educated, most competitive workforce in the world. And this is valid for every country. But the truth is, education is about more than getting into a good college. It is about more than getting a good job when you graduate. It's about giving each and every one of us the chance to fulfill our promise and to be the best version of ourselves we can be. You know, there's so much to learn from those sentences. We are individuals. Each one of us has different strengths. Everyone does not have to be successful in the same area. You have to identify what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and where do you fit into the society to make the best impact. Okay, that's where we are headed next. So, looking at the 21st century skills, we need talent, we need knowledge, we need innovation, because today's students and you guys are going to be the workforce of tomorrow. Okay? So you need to be cognizant of where the world is headed and try to make yourself fit into it. Okay? Next. Success on USA earlier frontiers 200 years ago meant having access to land, doing physical labor and utilizing new materials. Today's workforce and global economy, the driving forces are talent, knowledge, and innovation. And that's what we need to prepare ourselves for. Next. What kind of knowledge and skills will graduates need to compete in the 21st century? Next. Here. Problem identification, formulation, and solution. Alright? Creativity and intellectual curiosity. You know, don't be shy about being curious. All right, even if sometimes dumb questions come into your mind, don't worry about it. People will forget that you said something stupid if you are a success. Next. Critical thinking by systems thinking. This is a very, very important area. Sound reasoning. Making complex choices. Understanding relationship among different work elements and interconnectedness. What is the interaction between different elements of a task? That is what you need to learn, which is nothing but your operations research, so to say, or systems analysis. You need to learn, when you look at a problem, look at the bigger picture. Look at what are the different elements affecting the output of that task. And then decide which of those elements you need to do first in order to be productive. Okay? That is, I tell my students, this is my favorite slide. Okay? Don't look at the leaves of a tree, look at the tree first. What are the different elements of a tree? You really need to look at those. Next. Interpersonal and collaborative skills. Very, very important trait. Alright, don't be an isolationist. It's not going to work. You need to be able to work with people. You need to be able to manage people so that you can get the work done. Okay? This is a very important trait. Being open to others' ideas. This is a very important point. I think a lot of it get hung up on, well, it's my idea. Put your idea on the table, let the group decide which elements of your idea can be incorporated into a successful solution. Okay? People will recognize where the idea came from. You don't have to push for it. It's a very, very important. Be a good listener. Okay? Put your ideas on the table. Let others argue about it and tell you what is good about it and what's not so good about it. Okay? Dealing with others to productively solve problems. This is a very strong trait. Taking on different roles within a group. One day you are a manager, one day you are basically a worker. Rotate it out so that you know the different facets of that company, nice and open, respecting diversity. Okay, next. Communication skill. This comes up every time you meet with the industry people there, every time. Written and oral communication skills. Those are two very, very strong traits. Alright? Clearly communicating what you expect of the others. Alright? Very important. Next. Information and media literacy. Alright, accessing, evaluating and analyzing information. Evaluating and analyzing is more important than accessing it. Because your decisions are going to be made on the basis of evaluating and analyzing. Creating information for transfer at different levels. You are supposed to report it to your subordinates, your peers, and your supervisory people. Each one of them requires a little bit different tack for presentation. Alright? The general manager does not need to know where you collected the information. You need to tell him how it is going to affect his business. Alright? So you have to learn how to create the information for passing it on to different levels. Making judgments about sources of information, authenticity of the information that you are passing on to others, you must be able to judge whether it is good, bad, or ugly. Journalism is a good case in point. They have to tell where they got this information. You have to be able to do the same thing. Next, self-direction. You need to be self-motivated. You don't need your boss to come every day and tell you what to do. You should be staying ahead of him. You should be telling him, look, if we do this, we are going to make money. Okay? Exercising personal responsibility. We have now Swachh Bharat. That is self-responsibility. When you do not throw the garbage on the road, you are benefiting from it. All right, there are less microbes floating around and you're going to be less sick. So you have to exercise personal responsibility, flexibility. All right, because business world is not rigid. Business world requires you to be flexible so that you can deal with the problem as it's hard. Setting high standards for themselves and meeting those standards. Okay? Ethical responsibility. You have to the society, you must exercise it. Next, social responsibility. Act with the larger interest of the community in mind. Don't be worried about yourself only. Because when you take care of the community at large, you are taking care of yourself automatically. Okay? Act ethically in school, the workplace, and in the community. Next. Here are the broad competencies that the employers expect to become more important. Most important is critical thinking, problem solving skills. 75% of them want you to learn that. Information technology application, teamwork, collaboration, creativity, innovation. Those are the 4 important skills that the employers are looking for. Next. Next. Here are the 3 C's that you want to take home from this lecture. Critical thinking, communication and collaboration, and creativity. These are the 3 C's of competencies that you want to carry home today with you. Next. Given all of this, we must transform education and training for the 21st century workforce. All right? Strong foundations in their discipline and well-developed workplace skills that include the ability to think critically and solve complex problems, work collaboratively, communicate effectively, and engage in continuous learning. It's a mouthful, but okay? Now, here is what I want you to remember. There is a continuing education to transform because the society is moving at a very high pace. We are in a very dynamic society. The needs of the society are changing. So, the need to transform our education is not once in 10 years. Maybe now it is once in 3 years. Maybe 10 years from now it will be once every year. Okay? So keep some of these things in mind. Can you move this a little bit to the right so they can read? Okay. Next. Very important. We must collectively define our destination. All right? As the development of a world-class workforce, then we must take the journey together. All right? Remember, the destination is dynamic, and so must we be. Okay? Next slide. Point number 1, a basic course in creativity of In creativity will provide a breakthrough in education and it will significantly facilitate the students' learning of all other subjects. I strongly urge you to consider something like this. If you ask 90% of the people here, they probably will not be able to define what creativity is. Leave aside. Okay, next. This is the model, as I told you, when I was a student here, we were forced to learn through remembering. And I'm trying to take you to the creativity part, which is right at the top. And it is the most difficult part. All right? So even if we can, next slide please. Even if I can take you up to the analysis part, I'll be a very happy person. I have raised you through 4 notches, which is extremely good. All right? Next. Critical and creative thinking can be and should be applied to any subject. This is something that comes up all the time. History people say, well, can I be creative? The answer is yes, and you should be. Creativity has no bounds. Okay, you need to remember that. Next. Right here is the basic model of creative thinking, problem solving. Okay? Analyze problem situations, select plausible solutions. Don't worry about whether they are good, bad, or ugly. Implement the best solution. Alright? In step 3, you are going to be doing a lot of analysis. That analysis is going to be based on technical knowledge as well as economic knowledge, both. Okay? Track the effect by impact of the solution. Let's say you decide solution number 1. What is its going to be impact? Revise the solution for best results and go back to step 1. So it is a closed loop system. Alright? You can fly off tangent at any particular point. Let us say at step 4, you hit the best case. You run with that and make your Facebook company. Next. Nurturing creative and innovative workforce. Educate to innovate. Alright? Focus on developing attitudes that lead to innovative ideas, creativity, and entrepreneurship. This is where the professors have to become a little bit more tolerant. If a student comes and says, sir, I need an additional 4 hours to come up with a solution, there have to be mechanisms for us to give them that opportunity. Students need to stop being job seekers, but rather critical thinkers, business creators, and innovators. Next. I have to run now here. Environment for nurturing creativity, self-confidence. Don't let anyone let you down. Okay? Critical thinking, collaborative engagement, multidisciplinary and multi-talented work teams. A mining engineer should be able to work with a civil engineer, with a psychologist. You should be able to cash in on the knowledge base of others to come up with a solution. Next. Creativity environment. An innovative person is a critical thinker, a problem solver. To foster, we need to transform education with a focus on activity-based learning, hands-on. Okay, you learn a lot when you try to make something. Okay, dynamic environment and stimulating the quest for knowledge and for answers. Next. Okay, the same thing. Creative problem solving consists of fact finding, problem definition, idea generation, and putting plan of action. That circle that I showed you. The above have the highest success in increasing children's creativity. Next. Here I talk about activity-based learning in order to enhance your creativity. Next. Creativity at home. Create an environment to encourage individuality, creativity, idea development, and problem solving. Start that at a very young age for the little ones. Okay? Creativity at school. All right? The curriculum should allow some flexibility. It cannot be totally structured. Okay? Next. We can't be creative without good support. Parents' support can be very, very friendships. They can also support. Next. Some parts of transformation of education, curriculum, I think a lot of my ideas have already been brought in. Next. Classroom, use the technology. Next. Okay, these are some of my thoughts and I have kind of brought them out. Here's what I'm basically suggesting in a nutshell. At the freshman level, we need to teach the students what creativity is. All right? And give them a little bit of hands-on experience with creativity. Sophomore level, you build upon it and you allow the students to fabricate something that they can call it their own. Junior, senior year, I'm recommending that creativity should be discipline-based. If you're in mining engineering, your creativity must be related somehow to your discipline. Okay? That's basically what I'm saying here. Next. How do we integrate creative thinking and problem solving? My thoughts again, I have already said that. Employers should provide more co-op opportunities. This is very critical. Next. This is my idea here. I like to consider post-secondary education as a production system where industry, parents, students, and administrators, they are all working together for only one goal, and that is to benefit the students and the industry. All right, next. Let's recap then. Final slide. Next. Here are some of the points that I have shared with you in my lecture here. The education system must continue to transform. It must be sensitive to the needs of the community, sensitive to the needs of the industry. Okay? Creativity and problem solving skills are closely related and should be nurtured together. Most post-secondary institutions such as IIT already have a good infrastructure to promote 21st century skills. Promoting these skills requires inputs and directions from the administration, faculty, students, and our customers who hire our graduates. And finally, models for assessing creativity are not well defined yet, but people are working on it. Okay? I thank you so much for your attention.
And 3 C's that we have said, critical thinking, communication, and creativity, probably is a lifelong lesson which we can take home, and particularly the first one, when Professor Chugh की पर्सनालिटी के लोग जब सीक्वेंसिंग करते हैं कम्युनिकेशन में, उसका भी महत्व होता है. जब ये कह रहे हैं कि क्रिएटिव थिंकिंग फर्स्ट है, सॉरी क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग फर्स्ट है, तो फर्स्ट क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग ही होना चाहिए. द मोमेंट यू गेट क्रिटिकल इन थिंकिंग, you will start the stepping towards creativity. And communication of that, internalizing that the thinking has gone creative, critical, will let you communicate within your own self. And inward journey, अंतर यात्रा से creativity का आरंभ होता है. तो शायद इस संदेश को जो सर ने दिया है, all of you can, Professor Chugh is very simple and quite accessible. So you revisit your invite for the institute lecture, 27th institute lecture. He has his contact mails there. So those of you who would have hesitated to question something or did not want to put your ideas on record can get in contact with him. And the whole lecture series has a motto and punchline of educate to innovate and innovate to change. So these lectures of Professor Chugh will be available very soon on YouTube and on Twitter handle, that is IIT BHU. In that Twitter handle we already have 25 lectures and such lecture will also come within few days. So please listen to it and incorporate. With that I thank Pramod Sachdeva. He was ill and bedridden yesterday and I was telling Dr. Singh कि कुछ लोग ऐसे हैं जो हमारे रिक्वेस्ट को इस तरह एक्सेप्ट कर लेते हैं कि I am really feeling quite guilty that why I requested Sachdeva sir. That is, you might have seen those of you who had observed him. He is not able to even sit properly because of his illness. But he has come all the way from Sigra. And those, we are all from Varanasi, so we know what is coming from Sigra means at this peak hour. So I thank you, sir, on behalf of the institute. And we take this liberty. Pramod Sachdeva is a commando. And if you see, I asked him yesterday and from yesterday till today, what makes a good student? What makes a good researcher? What makes a scenario wherein we are a better self of our own self, better person of our own self? That can be seen with these two gentlemen. He is a pass out of Berkeley, so the sincerity that he has shown to the commitment, he was there well within time. Professor Chugh has done a wonderful job. And probably we Indians are, as compared to Chinese, we don't chronicle our experiences. Professor Chugh is very right in putting down things in black and white. We have been saying so many things in our classes, we say so many things loosely, but once that comes into black and white, it starts getting executed. I congratulate Professor Chugh for giving Chugh's model of creativity. And very sure that in times to come, this will become a component of our curriculum. And then its multiple effect, the cascading effect, the dominant effect will be seen in years to come. Thank you very much, each one of you. I thank all of you on behalf of the Institute Lecture Series.